Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has stepped down, marking an end of a tenure that spanned nearly 9 years in office. His decision to bow out comes mere months ahead of the general elections in Canada. Trudeau's Liberal Party is grappling with sinking poll numbers, internal discord and a resurgent conservative opposition led by Pierre Poilievre. In his resignation speech, Justin Trudeau acknowledged the challenges facing his party and his leadership. He chose to quit rather than face what was shaping up to be a bruising election campaign. Listen into that speech that had been made by Justin Trudeau yesterday when he put in his papers.
My friends, as you all know, I'm a fighter. Every bone in my body has always told me to fight because I care deeply about Canadians. I care deeply about this country, and I will always be motivated by what is in the best interest of Canadians. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option in that election. I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process.
Now, the citizens of Canada are out on the streets rejoicing. Over the last couple of months, Canada's unemployment rate has been steadily rising. The Canadians have also been plagued by food shortages as well as housing crisis. Now, several residents from Ottawa to Toronto to Alberta, they've all expressed their opinion, noting that Trudeau lost confidence within his party and within Canadians as well. Listen in to what the people of Canada had to say.
I mean, better late than never, I guess. I think he should have resigned over a year ago. I'm not a fan of his. I didn't like that he didn't fulfill his promise on electoral reform.
I know that friends and family and even in the States have been chatting about the fact that he needs to step down. His support was wavering, and it was as if he was just by himself.
Trudeau has resigned! Trudeau has resigned!
That's it, baby. It's like this. No more corruption. 342.
It's a great day in Canada. Justin resigns. Canada's going to be great again.
It's time for some new, good, real people to put into office. Okay? We gave you 10 years. You let us down. Step down as Prime Minister and step down as Liberal leader. Thank you. Na 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 na.
It's better he resigned, and now they can get a leader in that maybe more people nationally will support him.
Now, Trudeau does not just face trouble on the domestic front. He was also responsible for downgrading ties with India after levelling baseless accusations with regards to the death of the Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. He went on to declare the Indian envoy as a person of interest in the case. His government also accused Union Home Minister Amit Shah of authorizing operations against the Khalistanis. He subjected Indian diplomats in Canada to audio-visual surveillance, and all this while was mum on the Khalistani attacks against the Indian High Commission in Canada. Let's open up this discussion. On the telecast with me is Professor Madhav Nalapath. Your reactions, particularly in the way the Canadian citizens have come out on the streets and are rejoicing. They are happy that Justin Trudeau has stepped down as the Prime Minister and the leader of the Liberal Party. So there has been a large-scale discontentment amongst the people of Canada, whether it talks about joblessness, whether about the housing crisis, rising grocery rates, as well as inflation.
Well, Megha, those who have been watching NewsX channel will not be surprised at this development. There's no question that Trudeau all but ruined the Canadian economy. It was functioning quite well before he took charge. Now, frankly, it has almost entered a state of free fall. The drug addiction has risen. Grooming gangs have risen, as in the model of Britain, and crime has risen, narcotics has risen, And above all, there is a shadow of China. Trudeau and his family have long been tied by all kinds of news reports to China. All this was hanging over him. In my personal view, he quit, not because he's had enough of politics of the prime ministership, but because he senses that the Liberal Party is going to go in for defeat, and he then believes he can escape some of the odium of that defeat because he will not be the leader when the party goes for election, and then come back after a term of the Conservative government. That is his calculation.
Okay.
But I do not believe that's going to be fulfilled. I think Canadians have had more than enough of him, and I don't believe that he's ever going to be accepted back in his own party.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Megha, I would like to make a point, and that is, it is possible that you may get a surprise candidate as the Prime Minister of Canada, and a person of Indian origin, Anita Indira Anand. And I think rapidly she's gaining support among the ranks. Christoph Freeland has shown herself too ambitious. And when politicians show themselves to be too ambitious, usually their own party and the public at large don't like that. Thank you, Megha.
Yeah. Okay, all right. I also have with me Ambassador Manju Seth. Ambassador Seth, how do you view the development that has taken place? It was anticipated even before the Christmas, New Year celebrations that were going on in Canada and the rest of the world. There were indications being made. There was the finance minister that was forced to step down. She spoke about disgruntlement against Justin Trudeau amongst the party members. There had been number of MPs within the Liberal Party who had raised concerns, who had shown dissent towards their leader, and this is exactly what has happened now. He's been forced to resign after coming back from the winter break. And what is it going to mean for Canadian politics and the opposition leaders who are fighting the election? Definitely a cause of concern that Jagmeet Singh is in the fray. He is neither supporting right now the Conservatives nor is he supporting Liberals, from where he withdrew the support just a few months ago.
Absolutely, and I think Professor Nalapat's assessment that he has withdrawn or he has resigned, Justin Trudeau has resigned right now, or offered resignation, so to speak, because the passion of the pressures that he was facing from within his party, and also to escape any no confidence motion that he thought would that was imminent in their parliament. So he thought it's best to resign right now, and he's prorogued the parliament till requested for prorogation, and it's been prorogued till the end of March. But I think that that said, he definitely. He and his party definitely face a very difficult task in, whenever the elections come. And with the NDP, Jagmeet Singh, his party not giving any support to them, and the Conservatives are more in the polls, they are much more ahead. And I think when elections are held, they're saying October 25, but I think it might be earlier. Because once the parliament meets and there is no and the new leader, whoever comes of the Liberal Party, may or may not be in a position to be able to win that no confidence motion, given that their numbers are already less in parliament. So it is not going to be an easy. It's not just that he has resigned and everything is resolved, but I think he's trying to get the mantle of saying that I gave up my post and I gave up everything, so that my party and my country could. Okay, yeah.
Okay, all right. Joy, they're coming to you, and the situation where Trump is once again, he does not leave a chance ever to mock Justin Trudeau, and this time again as well, after his farewell speech that was made by Justin Trudeau, he's once again floated the idea that Canada become the 51st state of United States of America. Could this actually be a reality?
Well, if it happens, to an extent, obviously all of us will be very surprised, because after all, Canada is an sovereign independent country. So let's just put it in the realm of, Trump is being very jocular nowadays, now that he has won the presidency. He is joking about a lot of things. So perhaps it's a joke, but no, otherwise I don't see, because Canada itself has so many forces working inside it. There are the Khalistanis on one side. Anyway, Canada has historically there is this Quebec this move for referendum and the move for independence. So I don't think Trump will want and look at what this guy has made of the country. He has broken it, and it is basically it's a place where all these left wing people, they are this woke kind of people, they are running riot over there. I don't think this guy will be asking for, so no, that is a joke, so let's take it as a joke.
Okay, all right. I also have with me Major General G.G. Dwivedi. Most importantly, what is going to be the impact of this with regards to the India-Canada relationship? Do you think, I mean, in all probability, the Liberals are not going to come to power, which means that it could be the Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre who has been gaining ground and has been receiving majority of the votes with regards to the opinion polls that have been released periodically in the last few months. Do you think he is a better choice for India to reinstate ties with Canada?
Well, Megha, first and foremost, I think Justin Trudeau departure was only a matter of time because he was on the crutches and the support of the New Democratic Party of Jagmeet Singh. In fact, since 2019, the Liberals were in minority, and after the pandemic and the situation inside Canada, I think Justin Trudeau had no option but to exit because that was the writing on the wall. Secondly, how Indo-Canadian relations are going to shape out. In fact, Justin Trudeau sacrificed his national interest just to keep himself in power with the support of the Khalistani parties. And to that extent, I think he did a deep damage, and the India-Canadian relations soured to such an extent that now it will take some time for them to bounce back. And some of the reasons why this happened primarily was because, first and foremost, Justin Trudeau was backing up the Khalistani forces, and I belong to Punjab, and I can say with certain amount of credibility that the farmers' movement was hugely supported by both the political support and also the funds were coming in a rather big way. And secondly, how the diplomatic relations deteriorated, how the embassies were thinned out, and Justin Trudeau just did not, so I would say, calm down. In fact, he doubled down on this issue, and I have no doubt that with the new government coming, because Liberals have no hope to come to power, because as the metrics stand today, I think they will be defeated squarely.
Okay.
And the new dispensation definitely will try to salvage the relations, because I just want to make one point. The Indo-Canadian relations are very important because firstly, we have a huge diaspora there, and secondly, there's a lot of give and take between the two nations, and I have no doubt that these relations will be brought back, and once again, I think Indo-Canadian relations will be on track, and we are bound to see better days between the two countries.
Professor Madhav Nalapur, do you think Khalistan issue is on the agenda of any of the political parties across all party lines in Canada?
Look, Megha, one thing is very clear, that these people are fair weather friends. They basically destroyed the reputation of Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau became, in effect, a facilitator of terror. He became, in effect, a facilitator of the narcotics trade, in both of which these very small segment of the Canadian population, including the Indian Canadian population, is represented a very small segment which owes its loyalty to the Pakistan military. And Justin Trudeau connived at all this to remain in power. After his reputation was completely destroyed, after he had helped the terrorists and frankly wrecked relations with India, as General Dwivedi was pointing out to a considerable extent, after he had done all this dirty work for them, they just dumped him. Just dumped him like you empty a waste paper basket. And that shows that these people have no loyalties except to the Pakistan military. and to their terror plots against India. So I hope the next leader of the Liberal Party, as well as the leader of the Conservatives, will take note of this and will not trust these people.
Okay.
And I certainly hope that Jagmeet Singh's party will free itself of the taint of terror and free itself of a leader who values the interests of the Pakistan military more than he values the interests of his own country and his own people by the look of things. Thank you.
Ambassador Manju Seth, in a situation such as this, where not one single political party in Canada has raised its voice against Khalistani terrorism, continues to remain mum, has not come out in support of the Hindu minorities who have been facing atrocities at the hands of these violent Khalistani extremists and radicals. How hopeful can India be that the next president, the next prime minister that gets elected is going to work in its favor, especially with the sword that is dangling is of the Jagmeet Singh NDP, which was in fact the kingmaker when the Liberals came to power and could very well play the same role if the Conservatives were to win the election.
Yes, I agree with you absolutely that all the other political parties and other politicians in Canada did not say a word about the actions of these Khalistani supporters and attacks on Hindu temples and Hindu minorities living in Canada, Indian origin people. I think maybe it's just, maybe it's just in the garb of freedom of speech that they think everyone is allowed. And that narrative has been promoted by the Justin Trudeau government as well, that it's freedom of speech. And the second part being that the sheer amount of money that these Khalistani elements through their criminal activities and through their drug-related activities have accumulated, they're able to influence opinions and other politicians across the board. I feel that is probably the case because money does talk, and I think they have been able to influence others as well. And in the name of free speech, everybody keeps quiet and doesn't say anything. They're saying we don't condemn anything. But strangely, that is going to be a very negative, it will have a very negative fallout for the Canadian government and for the Canadians themselves. It's not a good thing because if you allow it, this kind of activity to continue, it can just blow out of hand, as we saw when it has had a diplomatic fallout, but also within Canada, when we saw the attacks on the Hindu temple, the videos that we saw, the way they were attacking, and the police were not doing anything about it. And that could very well escalate into a situation where the police are very, very biased and will not take, unbiased action against even other Canadian citizens being attacked. It may well develop gradually into that if you don't put down violence and criminals and hold them accountable.
Okay.
So I think it's not a very positive situation for Canada.
Okay. Joyda, again the question, when we take a look at global politics and particularly the electoral politics that is playing out in the West, whether it is Canada or Germany, France, we took like Georgia elections that took place as well, there has been this wave of conservatives, right-wing political parties that are coming to power. Why do you think that may be the reason Justin Trudeau has also been uninstalled?
Well, when you're looking at the downfall in, the fall in his, I would say, his popular support, he himself has to do with it. His own policies, the kind of policy, the emergency that he declared, and if you remember, he had frozen all the bank accounts. In fact, he also ended up freezing the bank accounts of a lot of these Khalistani truck drivers also. So they also learned a nice lesson that way, if you ask me. So you see his own policies. Number one, because whenever you are looking at any country for that matter, be it India or anything, it is not really about a swing to the left and the right. What ultimately matters is the issue of, let's put it this way, what we call roti kapda makan. It's there in the US as well. Okay, the same people who were voting Biden in the earlier election, they have voted for Trump in this election. So, you see ultimately these are the basic fundamental issues that matter to the people, but yes, at the same time there are certain issues like say for example immigration in the particular, the way you are going to live your life, this woke philosophy that all these people have brought into their governance, that also starts affecting the people. It has happened with Biden, it has happened to with Trudeau, it has happened to a series of, I would say the whole European continent is now. So, people are revolting. So, if you are going to talk that in, I mean play that up as some kind of a revolt against liberalism, yes. If it is about the Germany also, Elon Musk is right now supporting this AFD, that is anti-immigration. So, yes, there is a strong support for anti-immigrant parties about your own sovereignty, the borders are sacrosanct, that is becoming a problem in a place like Europe, particularly for that, because you see what is happening there, it is an open border, they have that Schengen visa and all, and so many people are coming in, it has been going on and it has been encouraged by the so called liberati or whatever, I mean the liberal section of the population. And people, common people whose jobs are getting stolen, whose lives are kind of under threat. Look at what has happened in Britain. I mean 98% or 99% of these rape gangs are basically all immigrants.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you see there is bound to be a reaction to that. So, all these forces, all these reactions have coalesced, and obviously Justin Trudeau is paying a price for that, along with the other so called quote unquote liberal left wing, left leaning leaders in the rest of the rest of West, I would say.
Major General Dwivedi, do you think the immigration issue that has been taken cognizance of by the Canadian government is also going to impact and help in some way diluting the Khalistani radicalism in Canada?
There is a de-globalization taking place. Every nation is looking inwards, and therefore your own internal interests are prime. And what the Canadian public today is looking at is first and foremost the economy. Anything that will help the economy, they will go for it. And immigration definitely is a big issue because it does take up the jobs of the local citizens. I am sure this will be one of the issues. But the two important things I think we'll figure out. First and foremost, I think Canadian public and the government will understand that it's not in the interest to have negative relations or relations which are not conducive vis-a-vis India. And secondly, they will also ensure that any measure that kicks up the economy, that also brings in certain amount of stability, internal stability, that's what the Canadians will be looking for, because when it comes to the elections today, the internal dynamics actually override the external dimensions.
Okay. Okay, all right. On that note, I'm out of time. I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast.